And today it's all about stamp duty and how it prevents families with young children getting on the property ladder. Someone who wants that situation to change is Iain Mansfield, Director of Research at the centre-right think tank Policy Exchange. Morning to you, Iain.
Good morning.
Right, let's clarify what it is you're after. Are you looking for a reduction or a complete abolition of stamp duty for parents of young children?
So I would suggest a complete abolition, at least up to a threshold, say of houses up to 500,000 or something, or so on that, in order to make as much difference as possible. I mean, we have to recognise, this is only a small part of the total cost of the house, so it's far from a silver bullet. But it is a case of every little helps in terms of helping those people to get on the property ladder.
And the idea behind this is what? You want people to have children or more children, fundamentally?
Well, it's not that I want it. I think if you poll people say that they want to settle down, they want to start a family, and polls consistently say that people are finding the house prices, the cost of affording living and renting is one of the barriers to them doing so. So it's not about trying to sort of tell people what they should do. It's removing barriers from something which is a really fundamental part of living a good life for many people.
Do you think the lifting of stamp duty for this category of people, and we'll get into how you'd qualify for it in a moment, do you think it would genuinely make a difference to people's decisions to have children or have more children?
Yeah, so I mean, one of the things you see in economics with supply-demand curves is that every change in cost does have a difference. So we can see this in a very mundane way at the supermarkets. The difference in price between Tesco and Asda is not very much, but that does shape some people's purchasing decisions. So actually, if you remove stamp duty, if you cut the price by a few £1,000s, that will help some people. And it will help some people in particular because stamp duty often has to be paid up front. And so it comes out of the money that you'd be saving for a deposit rather than just the total amount of the mortgage.
So who qualifies for this?
So what you could potentially do is you could say that any family with children under 5, for example, could qualify. So I think a lot of people would feel, well, they can live in a flat or somewhere which is too small for where they want while they have a baby. Babies don't move around much. I've had 2 kids myself, so I know this. But then they think, well, as the kids are getting older, we do need that little bit more space. And so that would provide a way which would not cost too much. I mean, stamp duty is quite a bad tax in general, but abolishing it completely would cost 8 to 10 billion pounds. You can sort of see why the government feels it can't afford that at the moment. But it would be a very clear, objective measure. It'd be very hard to gain in any way. And,
the government can't really afford to lose any income at the moment, can it? So I don't know how much this particular policy would cost if you're limiting it to people with children under the age of 5. But 1 billion, 2 billion is still more than they can afford.
Well, there are always choices for the government to make. And actually, in terms of this one, if you actually got people buying houses who otherwise weren't, then sometimes these taxes can help. That can reduce the cost of this. But there are always priorities. But in terms of which are our worst and most distorting taxes, then most economists, whether they're on the left or the right, believe that stamp duty is one of the worst, economically speaking.
OK, well, lots of people very interested in this. Not everyone agrees with you, it has to be said. Let me read a few texts. This one here. If you want families to buy houses, then incentivise older people to downsize. There are so many people not using all the rooms in their houses, but they're reluctant to vacate them. Families get enough incentives already, including benefiting from taxpayers' money for schooling and healthcare for the children. Another one here. Why would parents of small children not pay stamp duty? Parents get too many tax breaks already. This is discrimination. Child-free people already pay into education and childcare via our taxes that we will never use. Me and my dog want to buy a house too. And it is true to say that under the current tax system, single people pay disproportionately more, don't they? So this is yet another potential change to tax that would penalise people who either can't or choose not to have children.
So I'd like to pick up that one about old people downsizing, because actually in a report that Policy Exchange wrote last year called Britain's Broken Housing Market, we called exactly for that sort of incentive to help people, encourage older people to downsize. And we also called it if you were downsizing, if you were buying a house that was a certain proportion cheaper than your current house, which would normally be a downsizing move, then you would also get the stamp duty exemption there. So it would be about tackling that problem at both sides. I think all the people who are complaining about paying for the education of other people's children, I would just say, who do they think is going to be paying for their pensions when they get older? National insurance money is not paid for out of a sort of a huge pot somewhere or a magic money tree. It comes out of the tax payments of people who are currently in employment. And actually investing in kids, investing in their education is not only the decent thing to do as a society, but it does ensure that we will have those future taxpayers to pay everybody's pensions, healthcare, all that.
Okay, well, that is the case there, laid out for you by Iain Mansfield from the think tank Policy Exchange. What do you think about it? Thank you, Iain.